Sarada Kanda was sitting in class, bored out of his mind, the kind of bored where you start questioning your life choices. But just when things couldn't get duller, he woke up. It was all a dream. The first thing he saw when opening his eyes, his cat's butt right in his face. Great start to the morning. After moving the cat away, he noticed Misaki Kamigusa, his hyper-weirdo dorm mate, sleeping in his room like it was totally normal. He kicked her out and started getting ready for school. Before leaving, the dorm advisor, Chihiro-sensei, stopped him and told him to fix the nameplate outside the dorm. He didn't really have a choice. She's his teacher and the only responsible adult around, though that's saying a lot since she's lazy, single, and usually half drunk. While Sarada fixed the nameplate, the rest of the residents got their little intro. Misaki, the crazy animator, in 201, Jin, the smooth talker and lady killer, in 103, Ryunosuke, the shut-in programmer who talks through an AI named Maid, and Sarada himself, the only normal one stuck in a dorm full of weirdos. At school, Sarada met his friends Daiichi and Nanami. They teased him about living in Sakurasu, which everyone calls the weirdo dorm, all because he couldn't stop adopting stray cats. Nanami even gave him a bag of cat food, basically calling him the cat version of a single mom. During lunch, Sarada dropped by the teacher's office to tell Chihiro the nameplate was fixed, and she instantly dumped another job on him. Pick up her cousin, Mashiro Shina, who'd be moving into Sakurasu and transferring to their school. After school, Sarada went to the station, bought himself some cake, and while halfway through eating it, spotted a girl with long white hair, the exact one from Chihiro's photo. She looked quiet, kind of lost, and totally out of place. He introduced himself and told her he was there to pick her up. They had a random small talk about colors, then headed back to the dorm. That night, Misaki threw a welcome party for Mashiro, complete with a massive dinner and her new animation premiere. The show made zero sense, but everyone pretended to enjoy it. Next morning, Sarada got hit with another surprise. Chihiro told him to take care of Mashiro. At first, he thought that meant being a friendly guide. Nope. Turns out Mashiro can't do anything by herself. Not dressing, not laundry, not even drying her hair. She's like a beautiful alien with zero life skills. Sarada ended up doing everything for her, from waking her up to making sure she wore underwear before leaving. They finally made it to school late. Second period already started, and Sarada realized life in Sakurasu was going to be way more complicated than just living with a few weirdos. Sarada calls a mini-meeting at Sakurasu to talk about Mashiro's problem. Basically, he's tired of being her babysitter and wants everyone to share the job. But of course, this is Sakurasu. Teamwork doesn't exist. After a few minutes of discussion, everyone just agreed that Sarada should keep doing it. Democracy at its finest. That morning, Sarada planned to make breakfast, but Mashiro chaos striked again. Between her weirdness and his bad luck, he gave up and decided to just buy something from the convenience store. While Sarada was busy picking food, Mashiro grabbed a Baumkuchen, opened it, and started eating like she owned the place. Sarada freaked out, not just because of the stolen snack, but also because she was eating it so innocently it looked, well, suggestive. He tried to scold her, but she just calmly said she used to paint pictures in England. Then Nanami showed up mid-drama, just in time for Mashiro to open another one. Sarada's wallet was crying. On the way to school, Nanami asked who the quiet white-haired girl was. Sarada introduced Mashiro, and Mashiro, in her usual deadpan voice, said, "He is my first boy." Nanami instantly misunderstood, thinking Sarada was some kind of playboy. Sarada tried to explain, but Nanami stormed off, probably wondering what kind of research Sarada was doing in that dorm. Later at school, Nanami awkwardly denied liking Sarada when her friend asked, while Sarada, broke and hungry thanks to Mashiro's snack crimes, was trying to get Chihiro to take some responsibility. As expected, Chihiro deflected faster than a politician and walked away. Back in class, Sarada saw the news that Masaki and Jin's anime got amazing reviews, which only made him feel like the most normal guy in a house of geniuses. Then Mashiro showed up, asking if she could go home alone. Sarada hesitated but gave in. Of course, Nanami saw it, blushed again, and got mad at him for no reason. After school, Sarada spotted Mashiro with a mature woman. Turns out she's her manga editor, Ayano. They left together and even passed by Nanami's workplace. Mashiro, in her weirdly honest way, tried to clear Nanami's misunderstanding. Later, Sarada came home to his cat Hikari and a trail of cabbage. Turns out it was Jin's birthday, and Masaki had done her usual brand of creative celebration. When Sarada helped Jin check the present, they found Masaki inside the box wearing only ribbons. Jin stayed. Sarada bailed. That night, Mashiro walked into Sarada's room and asked him to come over, not for what he thought, but to model naked for her painting. After arguing, he agreed on one condition: the boxers stay on. She stared, sketched, and asked him awkward questions about men and women. It was the most confusing all-nighter of his life. Next morning, Sarada ran into Nanami, who was still embarrassed about the misunderstanding. Back at the dorm, he found a book full of amazing artwork, complimented it, and Mashiro casually said thanks. That's when he learned the truth. The clueless girl he's been babysitting is actually a world-famous painter from England. Sarada is taking a nice, relaxing bath, or at least it was relaxing until Mashiro suddenly walks in, completely casual about it. She starts talking about shower scenes for her manga, grabs the shower head, and sprays cold water right in Sarada's face like it's a science experiment. Then she just leaves. Sarada tries to tell her to work hard, but stops halfway, probably because his pride and temperature were both below freezing. After drying off, Sarada walks past the dining room and hears Jin on the phone. When the call ends, Sarada asks who he was talking to, and somehow the chat turns into Jin grilling Sarada about his life goals. Jin basically calls him out for being directionless, saying he's tired of Sarada complaining about wanting to leave Sakurasu but never doing anything. Sarada snaps, storms off, and runs into Chihiro on the way out, who, by the way, overhears the drama and starts gossiping about it with Jin like it's a soap opera. Back in his room, Sarada sees a game design competition ad and suddenly thinks, hey, maybe I can do that. He tries messaging Ryunosuke for help but gives up halfway and ends up making missing cat posters instead. Next day at school, while putting up the posters, Nanami shows up and helps him out like the nice, responsible classmate she is. A bit later, she returns, with Mashiro in tow. Mashiro says she wants to take care of Sarada's cats too, but he shoots her down. Then, out of nowhere, Mashiro asks him to go out with her on Sunday. Sarada panics and tells her to ask Jin instead, pretending he's too busy. Come Sunday morning, Sarada's half asleep when Masaki barges into his room, screaming that Jin and Mashiro went to a love hotel. Sarada jumps up like he's been electrocuted. Chihiro tries to calm him down, saying it's for research. But let's be real, Jin has a record, and research sounds suspicious as hell. Sarada and Masaki rush out to spy on them, with Ryunosuke's AI maid helping track their location. Along the way, they bump into Nanami working part-time at a shop. While tailing the couple, Misaki starts crying, realizing how much it hurts to see Jin with another girl. Eventually, Jin and Mashiro actually enter the love hotel, and Misaki runs off heartbroken. Sarada confronts Jin and tries to punch him, but Jin punches first. Clean knockout. When Sarada wakes up, he's in the hotel room with Mashiro. Mashiro explains the whole thing was planned and that she's just doing art research. Sarada scolds her for not realizing how sketchy this all looks, but Mashiro fires back, saying she knows what she wants to draw while Sarada doesn't even know what he's doing with his life. Later that night, Sarada calls Jin to tell him to go back to Misaki. After reflecting on everything, the fight, Mashiro's words, and his own confusion, Sarada finally decides. He's leaving Sakurasu. The next day, he announces it, and Mashiro gets pissed, probably because deep down, she doesn't want him to go. Sarada is packing his stuff, ready to finally move out of Sakurasu and live a normal life again. As he folds his clothes, he remembers telling Mashiro that he's leaving and how she didn't really say much, just went back to drawing like a machine. Once he's done packing, Sarada's about to leave when Misaki bursts in and drags him outside. There's Mashiro standing there in a yukata, looking stunning and completely clueless as usual. Sarada short-circuits, the brain wants to compliment, but the mouth forgets how to function. Misaki calls him an idiot and walks off with Mashiro. Right after, Jin shows up, tosses Sarada a yukata, and says they're celebrating Tanabata. At the festival, Jin and Misaki help some kids hang up wishes, while Sarada and Mashiro sit on a bench together. Mashiro writes her wish and hangs it up just before it starts raining, forcing everyone to rush back home. Inside, everyone's drying off when Mashiro gets a phone call. It's bad news, she didn't win the competition. Sarada tries to cheer her up, but somehow manages to say exactly the wrong thing and hurts her feelings. Feeling like garbage, Sarada storms out into the rain. Outside, Jin finds him sulking and gives him one of those older brother pep talks. He says people like Mashiro live between two worlds, the real one and their artistic one, and it's hard for them to balance both. Jin also admits he loves Misaki, but feels he can't keep up with her crazy energy. After that, they head back, and when Sarada reaches his room, he finds a pile of game design books left by Ryunosuke. Meanwhile, Mashiro locks herself in her room, probably still sad. Next morning, Sarada drops breakfast by her door. She doesn't answer, so he leaves quietly. At school, he meets Nanami, and they talk about finding homes for the last two cats. On the way home, Mashiro's editor, Ayano, shows up and drags Sarada to a cafe. She shows him Mashiro's manga, a story based on their lives, but with the genders flipped. The confident male lead is basically Mashiro, and the uncertain girl is clearly him. Ayano says it's a great story, but the ending's weak, and that Mashiro could fix it if she wants to get published. Realizing Mashiro misunderstood his reason for leaving, Sarada bolts home. He even stops by school to submit his career form, where he finally writes game developer. When he gets back, he rushes into Mashiro's room and tells her the truth. He was scared to chase what he wanted, but seeing her chase her dream made him want to do the same. Turns out she stayed up all night redrawing the ending she wanted, not the sad one that actually happened. Sarada feels moved and decides to stay at Sakurasu after all. When she wakes up, he tells her everything, including the good news about her manga. Mashiro smiles and asks him to start calling her by her first name. Sarada and Mashiro are studying together, though studying might be too generous. Mashiro somehow managed to score a perfect 0 on all her exams, including English. This confuses Sarada since she literally lived in England. Her excuse? She's too busy stressing over her manga deadline. Jin shows up and Sarada begs him to help Mashiro study, while Mashiro just keeps drawing like nothing's happening. Then, Misaki suddenly climbs in through the window like some caffeine-powered ninja and tells them that the art makeup exam is usually the exact same as the practice one. Mashiro shocks everyone by saying she already memorized all the answers. After that, Misaki drags everyone into playing a video game. Sarada teams up with Mashiro and gets completely destroyed on his first try. Later, while waiting in the dining room, Misaki storms in again and drags Sarada back for another round. The next day, Sarada walks Mashiro to school for her makeup exams, then chills in his classroom where he runs into Nanami. Her stomach growls, so he gives her his bumkuchen, which was actually meant for Mashiro. When Nanami leaves for work, Sarada meets Mashiro again, who casually aced every test. On their way home, they find Nanami exhausted from overwork but too proud to admit it. She explains why she's pushing herself so hard, which leads Sarada to invite her to move into Sakurasu. Then Mashiro out of nowhere asks Sarada to call her by her first name. Nanami overhears, misunderstands, and things go downhill fast. Before Sarada can clear it up, Mashiro just falls asleep mid-conversation, which somehow makes it worse. Now, Nanami decides to move in just to see what's really going on. Sarada panics his Mashiro duty will be exposed. Jin suggests Sarada and Mashiro pretend to date to stop any weird rumors. Sarada refuses immediately. Mashiro, ever helpful, proposes annihilating Nanami instead. The next day, Nanami moves in. Misaki welcomes her by opening her boxes and throwing her underwear around like confetti. Then, Mashiro walks in covered in tea stains, and Nanami drags her off to change, only to discover Mashiro's room looks like a battlefield. Learning the truth, Nanami insists on taking over Mashiro duty, saying a girl should care for another girl. She tries teaching Mashiro chores like laundry and cleaning, but Mashiro fails every single one. Mashiro even asked Sarada to fold her underwear, and Nanami burst in like a jealous mom. Still, Nanami grows impressed with how hard Mashiro works on her manga, though she ends up overworking herself too. One night, Mashiro sneaks into Sarada's bed and falls asleep there. He talks to her, but she's out cold. Then he finds Nanami asleep in the dining room, tries to wake her, and gets punched for his effort. After a mini argument about overdoing things, he heads back to find his bed occupied again. Next day, Nanami is looking for Mashiro, who's mysteriously missing from her room. She storms into Sarada's room and finds Mashiro sleeping in his bed like it's no big deal. Nanami freaks out, scolding her for crashing in a guy's room. They go to do laundry together and find Sarada also passed out there, so she scolds him too. Mashiro just stands there holding her precious Baumkuchen like she's innocent, though she's clearly not. While doing laundry, Mashiro barges in and tries to pour detergent without even taking the cap off. Nanami realizes from Mashiro's deadpan stare that she prefers when Sarada takes care of her. Poor Nanami, she's basically third-wheeling a couple who doesn't even know they're a couple. At voice acting school, Nanami's practicing for an important audition. Inspired by Mashiro's dedication to manga, she starts pushing herself too hard. Back at Sakurasu, she cooks dinner for everyone but finds Mashiro already passed out. Meanwhile, Sarada and Jin talk about how Nanami's overworking herself. Jin tells Sarada to let her be, since neither of them really understands her struggles. Before Sarada leaves, he finds out Jin plans to go to Osaka instead of staying near Misaki. Sarada's rattled, but before he can think straight, Misaki suddenly appears like a ghost with big energy and asks what's wrong. When she figures it out, she breaks down, saying she just wants to be Jin's girlfriend. Sarada, having zero clue how to handle crying girls, cheers her up with video games. Next day, Nanami's completely burnt out at work. while Sarada's preparing to submit his game project. His cat accidentally hits the keyboard and submits it early. Then Mashiro calls and Sarada immediately falls off his chair like a pro clown. She tells him Nanami's been acting weird. They rush out and find her feverish and trying to go to school anyway. She collapses and Sarada catches her. The Sakurasu gang holds a Nanami crisis meeting. Everyone says she should rest, but Mashiro insists they help her go to the audition since she works so hard. They all agree and pull together to get her there. Nanami gives her best, but the audition's a disaster. On the way back, she apologizes to Sarada for being a burden and calls herself an idiot. Sarada tells her to shut up. If she's an idiot, then the whole world is too. It's cheesy, but it works. She bursts into tears, finally happy someone understands her. Later, Jin and Sarada talk about how Nanami's been fighting everything alone. Mashiro seems to blame herself quietly. The next morning, Sarada brings food to Nanami's room, where she's talking to her stuffed toy about how much she likes him. Mashiro's holding Nanami's hand while Sarada feeds her, making it weirdly wholesome and slightly kinky. Nanami admits she doesn't regret trying and gives Mashiro duty back to Sarada, who thanks her. The episode kicks off with a mysterious girl walking towards Sakurasu. Turns out, it's Sarada's little sister, Yuko. And, of course, her timing couldn't be worse. The first thing she sees when she arrives is Sarada on the floor with a naked Mashiro, thanks to Sarada slipping on a banana peel placed by the gods. Basically, divine intervention made him look like a pervert. Later, Yuko's in Sarada's room, glaring at Mashiro like she's the final boss of Steal My Brother. Sarada calls home to explain, but only gets his dad, then finally his mom, who says Yuko came because she wants high school advice, though she's still in middle school. Meanwhile, Misaki's out terrorizing the city during her driving lesson, ignoring the brake pedal like it personally offended her instructor. Nanami comes home, walks into Sarada's room, and finds Yuko hanging onto her brother's arm. Yuko grills Nanami about her relationship with Sarada, and when Nanami says he helps her a lot, Yuko's brain instantly goes to the dirtiest possible place. Trying to prove he's not living in a love hotel, Sarada knocks on Ryunosuke's door, but only his AI assistant, Maid, answers. Yuko's convinced now. Her brother's surrounded by girls and robots. They suddenly notice water flooding the hallway, and it turns out Mashiro broke the bath. Sarada fixes it while Yuko tails him suspiciously. Then Mashiro shows up rubbing her stomach, saying, "It's ready." Yuko immediately assumes the worst. After the chaos, everyone has dinner together. Then they head to the public bath since theirs is still broken. Inside, Yuko gets insecure about being the smallest among the girls. She pokes Mashiro's chest, they tease Nanami, and Nanami's scream alerts the guys. Jin, being Jin, loudly asks Sarada which girl he's imagining naked, seconds before Nanami's shampoo bottle hits Sarada in the head. Meanwhile, Misaki continues to traumatize her driving instructor but somehow finishes her lesson alive. Next morning, Sarada checks the mailbox for his game results, still nothing. Yuko admits she didn't come for school talk. She just missed him and wants to go on a date. The moment she says date, Nanami and Mashiro appear out of nowhere and tag along like FBI agents. During their date, Yuko keeps misinterpreting everything Mashiro says into something perverted. They wander around a park, visit a shrine, and somehow lose each other. Sarada ends up catching Nanami when she trips. Mashiro and Yuko, meanwhile, are wandering around. Mashiro steals a candy apple, eats it, and just walks off. Sarada later finds them but gets scolded by the stall owner and ends up paying. Next day, Yuko leaves for Fukuoka, announcing she'll attend Suiku High next year to be with Sarada. Everyone's happy and slightly terrified. As her train departs, she starts spilling embarrassing stories about Sarada, but the doors close just in time. Somewhere else, Misaki finally earns her driver's license, holding it proudly while her instructor stares into the void, questioning her career choices. Nanami showed up wearing glasses one day and handed Sarada 2 letters. Her new look shocked everyone, even Misaki and Jin. Sarada opened the first letter and found out he passed the first round of a game design competition. He'd have to do a presentation on August 31st. The second letter was weird. It just said Koi wo oshiete, which means teach me love. Later, Sarada sat in his room trying to figure out who sent the love note when Mashiro walked in and asked, "What is love?" That's when Sarada realized she wrote the letter. Instead of giving her a straight answer, he told her about koi fish. Mashiro explained her editor told her to feel love if she wanted to write a romance story, and she had a serialization meeting. She offered to help him, but he said no since she had her own stuff to prepare. Before things got too weird, Nanami burst in yelling at Mashiro for walking into a guy's room without pants. Mashiro, of course, just casually mentioned she was asking Sarada about love. Nanami immediately got the wrong idea and dragged her out. Right then, Misaki crashed through the window like an overexcited raccoon, making things even worse. Sarada finally lost it and shoved everyone out. Later, Sarada asked Ryunosuke for presentation advice. Ryunosuke just told him to wear a suit, but then suggested practicing in front of everyone at Sakurasu. Sarada tried, but his first attempt was so boring that Mashiro fell asleep mid-speech. So, he rewrote it 10 times. Mashiro kept showing up in his room to understand love better. Nanami occasionally brought him snacks, probably hoping he'd notice she was into him. Finally, presentation day came. Mashiro gave him a lucky charm she bought herself, which honestly shocked Sarada more than any love confession could have. He wished her luck and left. At the competition, one of the judges grilled Sarada with a question right at the start. Sarada choked hard and his game got rejected. Back home, he sat outside crying like a rejected anime protagonist till Mashiro asked how it went. He lied, asked about her meeting, and found out she succeeded. Trying not to cry more, he told her to keep drawing, basically saying, "Go away before I start sobbing again." Later, Misaki and Jin planned a pool party to cheer him up. Nanami objected, but got dragged in anyway. They had fun splashing around until the school guard showed up. Turns out they didn't have permission. They ran for their lives, laughing and watching fireworks explode overhead. While running, Sarada admitted he was sad but realized he'd been too focused on success instead of enjoying what he loved. That night, everyone lit sparklers. Mashiro and Nanami talked quietly, and Nanami said she was finally starting to understand what love really is, probably because she kept watching Sarada be a clueless idiot. Sarada wakes up to find Misaki and Mashiro painting all over his wall like chaotic art gremlins. They're working on Nyabaran, a character Misaki made up back in kindergarten that's somehow getting serialized now. She proudly says it takes 3 days just to explain the plot, which honestly sounds about right for her. At school, Sarada barely makes it on time because Misaki stole the battery from his alarm clock, probably to power one of her inventions. He asks Nanami to pick him up the next day, but their classmates immediately start spreading rumors that she moved into Sakurasu just to be with him. Things get even worse when Sarada's friend Miyahara, who has a crush on Nanami, tries to defend them, and the rumor mutates into Sarada and Miyahara are dating. That evening at Sakurasu, Nanami complains that the weird lifestyle there is the reason for all the rumors and insists everyone act more normal. Right then, the doorbell rings. Sarada, being the unlucky one standing, answers it and finds a beautiful blonde girl with foreign vibes, Rita Ainsworth. She greets him flirtatiously in Japanese, and Sarada panics, blurting out, "I can't speak English," in perfect English. Mashiro immediately hugs Rita like a long-lost sister, and Chihiro explains Rita was Mashiro's roommate back in England. Rita announces she came to take Mashiro back with her. Mashiro flat out refuses, shoves her out, and slams the door. Feeling guilty, Sarada sneaks outside and invites Rita to stay. She insists on sleeping in his room, promising to spill all the tea about Mashiro's past. He reluctantly agrees, then wakes up the next morning with Rita wrapped around him like an affectionate octopus. Of course, Nanami walks in right at that moment, and then Mashiro too. Mashiro looks jealous and asks if Sarada's on Rita's side now. Before he can deny it, Rita jumps in and says she'll stay with him until Mashiro decides to go back. The rest of the gang walks in, turns it into a circus, and Ryunosuke appears just to meet his attendance quota for human interaction. At school, Ryunosuke annoys his teacher by typing loudly and eating tomatoes mid-lecture, then tells her to teach something interesting if she wants his attention. Meanwhile, Sarata and Nanami talk about Rita, Mashiro, and how not everything in life gets a second chance, especially if Mashiro goes back to England. Later, Mashiro starts calling Sarata Baka whenever they meet. House, school, doesn't matter. It's basically her new catchphrase. Sarata finally texts her saying he doesn't want her to leave because he wants to see her manga serialized. She replies with just sigh, which somehow ties back to Sarata no Baka. When Sakurasu starts planning for the cultural festival, they decide to make a game called Nyabaran. Everyone gets a job based on their skills, and Sarata is forced into the director role. Rita says she'll move into Mashiro's room if Sarata agrees to go on a date with her. Next Sunday, she takes him, Mashiro, and Nanami to a hotel art exhibit. Rita shows them Mashiro's old painting, which is stunning enough to make Sarata rethink everything. Maybe Mashiro really belongs back in the art world. Or maybe he just needs to stop getting dragged into hotel dates with British blondes. Sarata is buried under work, stressing over his job as producer, while Rita lounges in his room playing video games like she pays rent. When he asks why she's there, she casually says, Mashiro's busy, so his room is now her gaming lounge. Rita ends up looking at Sarada's designs and starts teaching him how to actually use references, which he takes like free art school. They chat about geniuses and burnout, and Sarada asks why she said staying with Mashiro too long would break him, and why she quit painting. Before she can answer, Mashiro walks in and drops off her new character designs, immediately shifting the mood to work talk. At school, the Sakurasu crew is grinding hard on their festival project. Jin and Sarada go over storyboards, Misaki's animating like a caffeine-fueled goblin, Ryunosuke's coding, and Sarada's trying to assemble everything without losing his mind. Rita just watches from the sidelines, sipping metaphorical tea. One night, she's spying on Sarada working when she bumps into Ryunosuke, who straight up tells her that her fake smile is annoying and that he already knows she quit painting. The next day, disaster hits. The student council demands a presentation before they're allowed to perform at the festival, and the art isn't done. They need another artist ASAP. On their way down from the roof, they run into the student council president Tatebayashi and his girlfriend Saori, who agrees to handle the music. Tatebayashi and Jin argue like rival alpha males while everyone else just wants to go home. That night, Mashiro suddenly says Rita can draw as well as she can, so Sarada begs her for help. Rita refuses, saying she quit art. Mashiro keeps pushing, and Rita finally snaps, confessing that she gave up painting because of Mashiro. She explains how, back in England, everyone in their art class got depressed because they couldn't match Mashiro's genius. Rita introduced her to manga out of jealousy, hoping critics would tear her down, but instead, Mashiro's manga became a hit. Now Rita's stuck between envy and admiration, hating and loving her at the same time. Ryunosuke cuts in and tells her she's just running away from what she really wants. His brutal honesty hits like a truck, and Rita storms out crying in the rain. Sarada, Mashiro, and Nanami chase her down. They find her sulking on a park bench, and Sarada gives a surprisingly good pep talk, saying she's amazing because while everyone else was scared of Mashiro, she actually stayed by her side. Mashiro joins in, awkwardly apologizing for being clueless, but saying she really did have fun drawing with Rita. That breaks Rita's wall, and she admits it was fun for her too. She agrees to help finish the project. With Rita's help, the art wraps up fast. The presentation goes great, and Sakurasu gets approved for the festival. They throw a big party to celebrate and officially welcome Rita. She admits she still thinks Mashiro belongs in the art world, but decides to delay the argument until after the festival. She also apologizes to Ryunosuke and casually flirts with him. The Suime High Cultural Festival finally kicked off, and Sarada and Nanami's class opened a chocolate banana stall. Sarada, who looked like he hadn't slept in a week, because he hadn't, was running it at first. His classmate Miyahara noticed the zombie vibes, and Sarada admitted he'd been working non-stop on the Nyaboran project. Nanami, wearing a cute outfit, took over the stall so Sarada could get back to coding. Back in the prep room, Sarada and Jin were testing the Nyaboran program when Misaki popped up, threw them each an energy drink, and dragged them off to see Mashiro's class exhibit. Mashiro was outside dressed as a cat holding up a sign. Inside, Misaki was wearing a bear costume, serving omelet rice, and offering to draw ketchup art on top. Naturally, she and Mashiro started fighting over who got to draw on Sarada's omelet. Misaki got madder when another girl drew on Jin's omelet instead of her. After eating, the crew went back to grind mode. Over at Sakurasu, Rita was in Ryunosuke's room watching him code while teasing him like a cat with a laser pointer. She wanted him to go to the festival, but since he's allergic to women, he refused. Rita responded by getting uncomfortably close just to mess with him, right before everyone came home and ruined the moment. Production moved to Sarada's room, turning it into a creative battlefield. Rita and Mashiro sketched, Misaki animated, Ryunosuke programmed, Jin tested, and Nanami practiced the voice lines. Feeling a bit useless, Nanami made snacks but spilled sauce on herself, leading to a totally innocent bathroom scene. She stripped to weigh herself accurately. Apparently, clothes weigh a whole kilo. Sarada walked in right then. While waiting outside, he overheard Rita on the phone with Mashiro's dad, talking about taking her back to England. The next day, work continued, with Ryunosuke now in Nanami's maid outfit, don't ask. Sarada was stuck on improving the story's climax until Ryunosuke told him to check out a speech by Kazuki, Sarada's mentor. The speech basically said, "If you don't enjoy your own work, no one else will." Deep. Afterwards, Sarada ran into Mashiro, who mentioned Jin was with his ex, Fuka, who is Misaki's sister. Fuka tried jokingly asking Jin to get back together, but Jin wasn't interested. Misaki overheard everything and ran off, with Sarada chasing her down. Mashiro bluntly told her she still had a chance with Jin, which instantly reignited Misaki's fire. They all refocused on finishing Nyaboran. Mashiro passed out on Sarada's shoulder mid-chaos, which gave him a spark of inspiration. to make the ending interactive. Instead of shouting move names, the audience would yell whatever they felt. Everyone liked it, and they pulled an all-nighter to finish. Before crashing, Sarada got a text from Mashiro. "I want to see you." He stepped out and found her waiting. She just wanted him to watch over her while she slept. Mashiro asks to sleep in Sarada's room, and he, being the gentleman he totally is, lets her. While she's half asleep, she asks if she's ever hurt him. Sarada's about to drop a confession, heart pounding and all that, but before he can say anything, she's already snoring. Morning comes, and it's showtime. The crew's setting up for their big Nyabaran presentation, but there's a huge crowd blocking the entrance. Jin, being smooth as always, distracts them by pointing out the student council president, Tate Bayashi. Inside, Chihiro-sensei grabs a seat next to her old buddy Fujisawa Kazuki, who's basically Sarada's role model. Backstage, Nanami's practicing her lines like her life depends on it, while everyone else gives last-minute support and pep talks. Before the curtain rises, Sarada gathers the group and tells them to make this moment one of their best memories. The show goes great at first. The crowd laughs, claps, even joins in when prompted. But during the emotional climax, when they ask the audience to shout out their true feelings, everyone freezes like awkward mannequins. Sarada feels the flop coming, until Mashiro suddenly stands up and yells, "Thank you for everything, Sarata." Misaki follows with, "Jin, stop looking at Fuka and look at me." And Rita shouts, "Ryunosuke, give me your email." The crowd finally loosens up and starts yelling their own feelings. The room turns into a full-on therapy session. Afterward, everyone packs up the gear. Jin clears things up with Misaki, saying Fuka was just an ex and then gives her the necklace he bought earlier. Then they spot Mashiro and Rita hopping into a taxi to the airport. Nanami and Sarada panic, realizing what's happening. Nanami pushes Sarada to go after Mashiro, calling him out for being too scared to admit his feelings. He finally cracks, saying he can't stand how easily Mashiro seems ready to leave everything behind. Nanami tells him to stop whining and go tell her himself. They rush around looking for her. Nanami even has to reject a random love confession from Miyahara mid-search. Girl really doesn't get a break. Eventually, the group makes it to the airport. Sarada sprints in and hugs Mashiro tight, begging her not to go. Mashiro, looking confused as ever, says she's not leaving. She was just seeing Rita off. Rita laughs and says Mashiro is where she belongs, at Sakurasu, with them. Before boarding, Rita kisses Ryunosuke on the cheek, calling it a punishment. Though judging by his face, he might need therapy after that. The group waves her off, and as the plane takes off, Mashiro quietly says she feels something weird inside when she looks at Sarada. She wonders if it's love or maybe just gas. Mashiro asks Sarada what love is, and suddenly everything goes full acid trip. Nyaboran pops out of nowhere, and Sarada wakes up like, "What the hell did I just dream?" At school, Sarada's chilling on the roof, still thinking about that weird dream, when Jin shows up with a stack of survey results for their Nyaboran project. Turns out people actually liked it, a rare win for Sarada's fragile ego. He also tells Jin that he entered the Let's Make a Game contest again, this time with help from Ryunosuke, the socially allergic genius. They also laugh a bit about Rita and Ryunosuke's awkward airport situation. Basically, Rita kissed him, and he looked like he needed CPR. Soon after, Nanami shows up with Mashiro, saying Mashiro's been looking for Sarata. Then, Misaki literally drops in from the roof, scaring the hell out of everyone. Jin pretends to be asleep to avoid her hyper energy, but when she tries to make a move, he magically wakes up. Misaki then gives him a love bento complete with a cute confession written inside. Later, everyone in class starts talking about Christmas plans. Nanami later catches Jin in the locker room, where he reveals that Misaki also gave him a marriage application in her letter. Jin then hands Nanami 2 Christmas Eve concert tickets, teasing her to use her props while she can. Back at Sakurasu, Sarada's changing clothes when Mashiro just walks in like it's no big deal. Zero knocking, zero shame. She says she wants to learn how to cook. Sarada refuses at first, knowing she's the kind of person who'd probably burn water, but she insists. He gives in and starts teaching her. It goes about as well as expected. She cuts her finger within minutes. Sarada freaks out and calls her editor Ayano, asking to delay Mashiro's deadline. Ayano drops by, checks on Mashiro, and before leaving, Sarada stops her for a chat. Over coffee, she tells him Mashiro's becoming more normal compared to the genius robot she used to be. She asks which version he prefers, old or new Mashiro. Sarada says he likes the old one better. Later, Sarada gets a letter from the competition, another rejection. He snaps, rips it up, and when Mashiro tries to comfort him, he yells at her for wasting time cooking instead of drawing. Mashiro fires back, telling him to get out. Way more emotion than usual for her. Then, out of nowhere, Misaki appears in a short Santa outfit, truly the Christmas spirit. She invites Sarada to her room, but he bumps into Nanami and drags her along. Misaki asks them to let her have Christmas Eve alone with Jin. On the way back, Nanami nervously asks Sarada to go out with her using the tickets Jin gave. He agrees, and they seal the deal with a pinky swear, the most innocent pre-date move in anime history. The episode starts with a quick rundown of everyone's messy love life. Sarada's thinking about Mashiro, Nanami's thinking about Sarada, Jin's thinking about Misaki, Misaki's thinking about Jin, and Ryunosuke is writing an email to Rita, which for him probably counts as third base. Meanwhile, Mashiro's silently staring out from a tall building like an anime ghost who's bad at social interaction. Sarada, Nanami, and Misaki are helping Misaki with her master plan, clearing the dorm for Christmas Eve so she can be alone with Jin. Sarada goes to drop off a party invite from Mashiro, but since things are awkward between them, he just leaves it at her door like a cowardly Amazon delivery guy. When he gets back to his room, he finds a Baumkuchen at his door. Mashiro jumps out of hiding, very stealthy for someone who can't even cook rice. Her stomach growls, so they end up sharing the cake, but Sarada's still salty and snaps at her. Mashiro panics, apologizes 1,000 times, and then runs away like a kicked puppy. The next day, Nanami's friends tease her about her Christmas plans with Sarada, calling it a date. They tell her to wear a skirt, because in anime, skirts apparently solve everything. Meanwhile, Jin's in the library when the student council president Tate Bayashi shows up and basically tries to flex on him. Jin fires back, saying he's cut off all his side chicks and only cares about Misaki now. He admits he wants Misaki to see him as an equal, not just as the guy she's obsessed with. Back at the dorm, Misaki and Nanami are picking out Nanami's outfit. Nanami asks if Misaki's scared of confessing. Misaki says yeah, but she's tired of running in emotional circles, confessing, waiting, doubting, repeating. She'd rather crash and burn than keep running. Later, Sarada finds another Baumkuchen at his door. Chihiro-sensei catches him and explains that this is Mashiro's way of apologizing. She gives him the classic adult advice. Stop seeing the world in black and white, it's all gray. Now man up and do something about it. Fast forward to Christmas Eve. Sarada and Mashiro head out. Awkward silence everywhere. At the hotel, Mashiro begs him to say something nice. He just tells her to behave at the party. Then Sarada meets Nanami, who's dressed up and looking good. It starts snowing, of course, and she tells him about her upcoming audition. If she fails, she'll have to go back to Osaka. She asks him to listen to something if she passes, but before she can say more, Sarada gets a call. Mashiro's missing. He dashes off and finds her sitting by a fountain. She gives him another slice of Baumkuchen, saying she's been leaving them because she misses him. Sarada hugs her and admits he was angry because she made him worry so much. Mashiro quietly says she just wanted to cook for him. Then Nanami shows up, third wheel moment, with Sarada's contest letter. Turns out he's been shortlisted. The three of them celebrate, awkwardly but genuinely. Back at the dorm, Misaki's crying. She confesses that Jin turned her down gently, saying he can't take care of her yet. Misaki says she'd rather be hurt honestly than be rejected kindly, because at least pain feels real. Sarada, Mashiro, Nanami, and Misaki are riding a train together. We flash back to Sakurasu, where Chihiro-sensei drops the bomb that the dorm will close for New Year, since she's off to Australia to sip cocktails. No one's planned where to go, Mashiro forgot. Nanami can't go home, and Misaki refuses because her house reminds her of Jin. Chihiro shrugs and tells them to just crash at Sarada's place. Mashiro agrees immediately, like she's been waiting for an invite. On the train, Sarada's playing with his cat while talking to Nanami about how weird it is that he's going home with 3 girls. Misaki's staring out the window like an emo main character, and Mashiro silently offers Sarada snacks. When they arrive, Sarada's sister Yuko freaks out. 3 girls? Her brother's living the dream. Their mom, Akiko, pops in all cheerful, and their dad jokes that he doesn't approve of polygamy. Everyone laughs awkwardly because, well, the man's not wrong. During dinner, Nanami helps Akiko with dishes, and Akiko casually calls her Sarada's future wife. The table goes dead silent. Mashiro asks if Sarada actually wants a wife, while Yuko grabs his arm and declares that any woman wanting to marry her brother must first defeat her in combat. Mashiro takes it seriously. Nanami, trying to keep peace, offers to help Yuko study so she can convince their dad to let her apply to Suiko. Later, Sarada calls Jin to ask what made Misaki depressed. Jin admits he confessed to Misaki but told her he couldn't be with her yet. Classic, "It's not you, it's my ambitions" move. He asks Sarada to look after her. Meanwhile, Misaki's at the table, staring dramatically at a script Jin left behind. The next day, Sarada preps for his game presentation using Ryunosuke's AI, Maid-chan, who jokes about going to England to bully Rita. His sister interrupts, asking for help with studying, and Sarada notices she's secretly reading Mashiro's manga. When Yuko realizes Mashiro is the author, she goes full fangirl. Nanami drags her away to actually study. Mashiro checks in with Sarada about what he said on Christmas Eve. He confirms it, and she gives him a drawing for his project. His presentation practice goes well. Later, he and Nanami review the slides together. She gives smart feedback, and Sarada's impressed. They share a soft, supportive moment until Mashiro barges in, saying she wants to work hard together too, which totally sounds like innuendo if you think about it. In the hallway, Mashiro asks Misaki what she really wants from Jin. Misaki admits she just wants to stay by his side forever. Mashiro says Sarada loves her for her art, implying Jin loves Misaki for something special too. That night, Sarada talks to his dad, awkwardly, while the man's naked in the bath, about letting Yuko try for Suiko. Dad agrees, teasing him about his harem. The next morning, everyone goes to see the first sunrise of the year. Misaki thanks Mashiro for helping her realize what Jin means to her and vows to turn his script into an anime. Everyone yells their dreams at the sunrise. Mashiro just shouts, "Meatball beam!" like a true artist. Sarada is getting ready for his big presentation the next day. Nanami walks out of the bathroom and sees Misaki doodling like a maniac in the common room. Misaki proudly shows her the anime script she's been working on, and Nanami asks if she can borrow it for her audition. The next morning, Sarada gets a call from his little sister, Yuko. She tells him she'll be taking her entrance exam at Suiko on February 13th, the same day as his presentation. She wishes him luck, and Sarada thanks her before hanging up, feeling a rare sibling connection moment. At breakfast, Mashiro gives Sarada a few kind words that almost sound like encouragement if you squint hard enough. Chihiro-sensei stumbles out of bed, probably still hungover, and reminds Sarada not to stress so much and just enjoy the experience. They head to the opening ceremony for the new semester. After the speech, Misaki spots Jin and Suichiro sitting together. She panics, hides behind a pillar, and starts making bullfrog noises. Sarada finds her mid-ribbit and drags her out. Jin says he'll move back into the dorm after his entrance exams, then leaves. Sarada gets stuck babysitting the bullfrog again. Later that day, Sarada heads off for his presentation. On the way, he gets a text from Nanami saying, "Work hard," which makes him grin like a kid who just got noticed by his crush. During the presentation, he smacks his head on the mic but remembers Chihiro's advice and lightens up. The judges like his idea, but the main guy, Fujisawa Kazuki, says it's too expensive, 100 million yen to make, and would need to sell 45,000 copies just to break even. Still, Fujisawa offers Sarada a chance to refine the project with his team. Sarada leaves happy, probably already planning how to brag to Mashiro. That night, everyone celebrates Sarada's success. He thanks Nanami for her message, which makes Mashiro quietly jealous. She goes to her room and sends him the same text. Cute, but also a little passive-aggressive. Later, Sarada and Nanami wash dishes together, and she asks him to help her practice lines. In the common room, she confesses, "I've always loved you," only for Sarada to awkwardly apologize until it's revealed they're just rehearsing her audition lines. Mashiro, of course, sees the whole thing and looks like she's planning murder. The next day, Mashiro tells Ayano she feels weird about Sarada and Nanami. Ayano just tells her to draw manga and get it out of her system. Meanwhile, Nanami's friends tease her about confessing on Valentine's Day, which she denies, blushing like crazy. A few days later, Sarada meets Fujisawa again and learns he was Chihiro's classmate. Fujisawa tells him to go all in on his next game. Yuko later arrives at the dorm, reads Mashiro's manga, and calls her a genius. Nanami comes home and finds out Sarada did all her chores, which Yuko calls kinda romantic. Kinda creepy. That night, Mashiro walks into Sarada's room wearing only a towel, holding a hairdryer. After some awkward staring, Yuko teases him for being into weird stuff. The next morning, Yuko leaves, gives Sarada chocolates, and tells him not to be indecisive about girls on Valentine's Day. Sarada's feeding his cats early in the morning when he sees Nanami all dressed up and heading out. He tries to wish her luck but ends up missing his moment. Classic Sarada move. Meanwhile, Mashiro gets a call from Ayano, who tells her the artist for the magazine cover got sick and she'll have to draw it instead. Mashiro hangs up, immediately takes off her yellow underwear because yellow isn't suitable for the cover, and swaps it for something more colorful. Sarada checks in on her and is shocked she actually dressed herself, though she still managed a few Mashiro-style mistakes. Then Rita shows up because she takes Valentine's Day like it's the Olympics for women. She charges into battle, aka goes looking for Yunosuke, and Sarada and Mashiro make their exit. At school, Sarada finds Nanami and apologizes for not cheering her on earlier. She forgives him, and they chat about their promise from before. Miyahara drops by to wish Nanami luck, then dips. During class, the teacher gives a gloomy lecture about love, while Sarada gets a text from Mashiro saying she'll be waiting for him on the roof after school, which sounds romantic until you remember she's probably standing there like a confused mannequin. Back at the dorm, Rita's chasing Ryunosuke around. He hides in the bathroom like a terrified cat while she tries to confess with chocolate. When he brushes her off, she admits she was really happy when he emailed her on Christmas. He says it was just out of respect, basically friend-zoning her into oblivion. After school, Nanami heads to her audition, while Sarada's stuck on cleaning duty. On his way to dump the trash, he finds Misaki sitting with Saori, holding chocolate for Jin, tiny in size, but probably made with nuclear-level effort. Then he looks up at the roof, realizing Mashiro's still waiting, just as Nanami calls saying the train stopped. Being the nice guy he is, and a bit too nice sometimes, he runs off to help Nanami, calling Mashiro to say he'll be late. He borrows a bike from Miyahara, who insists Sarada go alone since Nanami called him in her darkest hour. He finds Nanami sulking at the station and gives her the usual, "Don't give up on your dreams" pep talk. She hops on the bike, and they ride off like a budget anime movie montage. Meanwhile, Rita leaves Sakurasu, leaving behind chocolate and a note confessing the kiss she gave Ryunosuke was her first. Back at school, Misaki's waiting for Jin, but he's a no-show. She's disappointed, but shrugs it off. Mashiro's still waiting for Sarada and eventually leaves. Sarada finally remembers her. After Nanami's practice scene got a little too real, she actually hugged him during the "I love you" line and races to find her. He finds Mashiro on the roof, looking hurt. She says, "You always break our promises," though she's actually mad he never calls her by her first name. She gives him choco shoots and they share a weirdly sweet moment. When she holds his hand, she says it makes her heart beat too fast, and Sarada tells her that's just proof she's alive. Later that night, Nanami's back from her audition. Everyone's having a Valentine's dumpling party because Misaki thought that was a thing. Ryunosuke mentions Rita's gone, and Nanami says, "There are just things you can't say, no matter how close you are." Sarada overthinks, spills soy sauce, and Mashiro wins the dumpling lottery, only to bite into the one filled with chocolate and immediately regret living. Misaki's busy working on her anime, completely ignoring Jin's calls. Man's out here getting ghosted by his own girlfriend. Meanwhile, at Suichiru's place, we find out Jin got accepted into Osaka University of Arts. Dude's moving up in life, academically and emotionally wrecking Misaki at the same time. Sarada's on his way to meet Fujisawa, who approves his latest game plans and tells him to write the final design doc, and maybe get Mashiro to do the art. Sarada agrees, even though he knows asking her for favors is like playing with fire. Fujisawa also reminds him the Suiko exam results come out today, which means Yuko's fate is about to drop. Back at Sakurasu, Sarada bumps into Chihiro, who says she's got a meeting, aka probably another drinking session. Nanami shows up and asks to tag along to school, and somehow Mashiro joins too, apparently to check if Yuko passed. Her logic? If Yuko passes, she'll cut her up. Plan C. But if she fails, she'll start dating Sarada. Plan B. Girls got backup plans for romance and murder. At a red light, Sarada asks if Mashiro can draw some art for his game, and she instantly says yes. He's touched, then confused, then worried she's sacrificing her manga deadlines. She misreads his concern as anger, so he has to awkwardly assure her he's not mad, just happy she's giving him time. They reach school, check the results, and find out Yuko didn't pass. Sarada breaks the news, and she probably cries somewhere off-screen. Then Suichiro and Saori show up, revealing Saori's little brother got into the music department. At least someone's winning today. They also mention Jin's at school to report his acceptance, and Sarada immediately decides he has to reunite Jin and Misaki before graduation. He and Mashiro sprint around campus and find Jin, who looks chill as ever. On the roof, Sarada begs him to go see Misaki, but Jin's like, "Nah, she'll forget me anyway." Sarada snaps, they argue, and Jin decks him, so much for emotional maturity. Sarada still gets up, insisting Jin talk to her. Mashiro backs him up, saying Misaki will come, though Jin doubts it. Meanwhile, Nanami's trying to drag Misaki to school. Misaki refuses, saying she has to finish the anime. Nanami gives her a mini therapy session, reminding her not to bottle stuff up. Flashbacks show Misaki's rough school life, lonely, weird, and sexualized by dumb boys. Jin defended her back then, which basically started their whole tragic love loop. Back in the present, Nanami tells Misaki Jin's really leaving, and it's now or never. They rush to school just as Jin's losing hope. When Misaki finally shows up, the two have their long overdue talk. Jin says he's moving in April and wants her to follow her own path. Misaki tells him his scripts aren't exciting enough, savage but honest. Jin promises to improve and asks her to wait 4 years, handing her a ring as proof he still loves her. Misaki, teary and happy, swears never to take it off. Of course, the school staff barges in to break up the romantic rooftop scene, but Jin locks them out, gives one last speech about Sakurasu, and tells everyone to go home, meaning the dorm. The gang returns, finally feeling like a family again, until Chihiro drops the nuke. Sakurasu's getting demolished at the end of the term. Apparently, some construction guys came during winter break, took one look at the place and said, "Yeah, this building's one earthquake away from becoming modern art." The residents immediately start arguing about what to do. Misaki's first idea is to talk to the principal, but Jin shuts it down, saying that would probably just make things worse. Nanami and Sarada suggest appealing to the school board, but Jin points out that moving to the normal dorms wouldn't be so bad. They'd finally be free from chores and cleaning up Misaki's random art explosions. Later, Jin and Misaki talk in his room about why the school wants Sakurasu gone. They figure it's because the dorm's too old and full of eccentric students, aka people like them, but both agree they can't just let it disappear. Meanwhile, in Sarada's room, he explains to Mashiro that if Sakurasu goes down, he won't be able to take care of her anymore. Mashiro's like, okay, not really getting how serious that is. Then one of Sarada's cats digs up an old photo and it turns out to be from when he first moved in. We see baby Sarada moving into Sakurasu for the first time, nervous, confused, and completely unprepared for the chaos waiting for him. Misaki immediately throws him into a hot pot party like it's a ritual sacrifice. Jin gives him shady senpai vibes, and Ryunosuke doesn't even come out of his room, so Sarada thinks he's a ghost. Basically, it's a warm welcome by a group of functional weirdos. Back in the present, Sarada finishes his story and realizes just how much this place means to him. Sure, the locks don't work, the floor creaks like a haunted house, and the roof leaks like a bad joke, but that's what makes Sakurasu Sakurasu. It's a broken home, but it's their broken home. Everyone gets fired up to stop the demolishment. Even Ryunosuke, who at first didn't care, joins in after hacking the school's servers and finding out the administration didn't even give a proper reason for tearing the dorm down. By the end, the group makes a pact to protect Sakurasu no matter what. It's emotional, a little ridiculous, and kinda sweet. They might not have much power, but they've got heart, determination, and probably several health code violations on their side. The episode starts with Ryunosuke doing what he does best, sitting alone in his dark cave, hacking into the school network like a socially anxious Batman. He's trying to dig up dirt on why the school wants to demolish Sakurasu. Meanwhile, Sarada, Nanami, and Mashiro are outside the school gates trying to collect signatures to stop the demolition. No one cares until Daiichi, the resident wholesome kid, signs first. The three light up like they just won the lottery. Half a day later, though, reality hits. They've only got 3 signatures. While Sarata and Nanami are sulking about it, Ryunosuke shows up with classified files he stole from the school's servers. Inside are the board meeting notes. Turns out the construction guys said Sakurasu didn't need to be demolished right away. It could last 5 more years. But the administration decided to speed it up anyway, using Mashiro as an excuse. They think she's wasting her artistic potential on manga instead of painting. Sarada loses it and storms toward the principal's office like he's about to drop a truth bomb. Nanami and Ryunosuke follow him, trying to calm him down. Ryunosuke reminds Sarada that they literally hacked the info. They can't just barge in, waving illegal evidence. He also says something cold but true. Maybe it's better to let Mashiro go. Sarada, of course, refuses to hear that. Then Mashiro appears out of nowhere, asking what she should do, and Sarada's brain completely blue screens. After she leaves, Ryunosuke gives Sarada a reality check. He says their friendships aren't tied to a building, they're tied to memories. Everyone's moving on eventually anyway. Nanami will leave, the seniors will graduate, and Sarada has his own goals too. Later, we get a peek into Ryunosuke's tragic backstory through his AI maid, who accidentally spills it to Rita. Turns out he used to work on a game project with friends, but his perfectionism and attitude drove everyone away. It's why he became a shut-in. Meanwhile, Sarada's mentor, Fujisawa, gives him advice about life choices. If you can't choose one thing over another, find a way to do both. Then, Nanami gets her audition results. She fails, but she smiles through it like a champ. Misaki, trying to cheer everyone up, shows up in a bear costume and suggests collecting signatures in cosplay. Shockingly, it backfires because she looks more like a criminal than a mascot. By the end, Ryunosuke secretly hacks the school's homepage to support the petition, turning the tide in their favor. Sarada finds out, hugs him, and nearly short-circuits the poor guy. That night, they realize they had 300 signatures. Mashiro quietly says she likes Sakurasu, and for once, everyone actually feels hopeful. Things were finally starting to look up for the Sakurasu crew. Their petition was gaining traction, students were signing, shopkeepers were cheering them on, and Sarada was basically becoming the poster boy for desperate dorm kids. On the way home one day, they ran into a Yano who handed Mashiro the newest art magazine, and boom, Mashiro was on the cover again, stealing the spotlight like it's a habit. Sarada narrates that they've only got a few days left before the final decision, setting the mood for the incoming disaster. Cut to them still collecting signatures, in the rain. Everyone looks like wet cats, especially Nanami, who's clearly not doing great. Later, during what seems like an exam, Sarada hears droplets and realizes Nanami's crying right next to him. The whole class notices, and Sarada quickly escorts her to the nurse's office. She insists she's fine and tells him to go back, but it's obvious she's lying. On his way back, Sarada gets a call from Kazuki. The results are in. His game didn't make the final cut. Turns out another team made a similar rhythm game, but with popular anime and Vocaloid tracks. Basically, Sarada lost to people who just threw Hatsune Miku into the mix. Kazuki tries to soften the blow, saying life's unfair and sometimes you lose even when you do everything right. Sarada tries to act cool, but ends up kneeling on the floor, fully defeated. Then he gets a text from Ryunosuke asking how Nanami is. Sarada says she's fine. Ryunosuke replies that no one who ugly cries in class is fine. Realizing he's right, Sarada runs back and finds Nanami standing outside in the rain, staring at the sky so her tears won't fall. He tells her to stop pretending she's okay, but she snaps back, saying she isn't some saint doing this for others. She was just running from her own pain after failing her dream. Sarada tells her that watching her push forward gave him motivation to do the same. She breaks down, yelling about how the past 2 years feel wasted. He hugs her tight, telling her she's worked hard and doesn't need to carry everything alone. The two cry it out together while Mashiro silently watches from a window like a sad third wheel. Later, Chihiro-sensei finds them and tells Nanami to rest up for the petition's last day. Sarada tells her about his failed contest, then accidentally falls asleep at her bedside. When he wakes up, it's already dark. Everyone else is still out gathering signatures, totally exhausted. They're still short of the goal. As they walk home, Sarada finds a letter. The contest sponsor wants Mashiro as a character designer. He just lost, while Mashiro, the natural-born genius, keeps winning without even trying. Bitter and jealous, he snaps. Mashiro quietly asks, "Is it because of me?" and walks away, packing her bags. The episode ends with Mashiro leaving Sakurasu and Sarada realizing that sometimes talent hurts more than failure. The episode kicks off with Mashiro in the art room, suitcase beside her, signing her new painting with a satisfied smile. Meanwhile, Sarada's still stewing over what happened last time. His game idea got rejected while Mashiro got invited to join a professional team. He admits he didn't mean to take it out on her, but failure hits different when your crush accidentally flexes on you. Later that morning, Misaki and Kohai-kun cross paths, talking about the graduation ceremony. Jin pops out of his room, tells Sarada to wake Mashiro up, and goes back to his tortured writer mode. Nanami walks out, bumping into Sarada. They mention her crying last night. She says to forget it. And Sarada, being Sarada, says he kinda wishes it happened again. Sarada walks into Mashiro's room but finds it empty. Weirdly clean, actually. He panics, gathers everyone, and Chihiro-sensei breaks the news. Mashiro's gone. She tried to stop her, but Mashiro insisted. Sarada realizes it's his fault. Everyone rushes out to look for her. Chihiro stays behind and pulls out the culprit. A letter inviting Mashiro to some big contest. The group reaches the art room and finds Mashiro's bag and phone waiting like bait. Then they see her painting, Sakurasu and all its residents, except Mashiro herself. Sarada realizes she left to protect them, since she thought she was the reason the dorm might be demolished. But the gang refuses to accept that goodbye. Jin tells Sarada to find her, and tell her how stupid that idea is, and they split up. Sarada and Nanami team up. Before parting ways, Nanami brings up his Christmas promise. She almost confesses she loves him, but chickens out halfway and says thanks instead. After he leaves, she quietly admits she loved him all along. Ryunosuke realizes searching on foot is useless, so he calls Maid-chan to message Rita. Suddenly, Rita shows up behind him, because apparently teleportation is real when it's for love. They talk for a bit, and Rita says Mashiro never gives up once she decides on something. Back at the dorm, Chihiro tosses the letter in the trash and Kazuki shows up. She slaps him, fair, and he apologizes for accidentally starting the mess. He offers to help save Sakurasu, but Chihiro refuses, saying the kids will handle it. Sarada keeps searching and eventually spots Mashiro at the station. She tells him she's leaving because she failed to save Sakurasu and doesn't want to be a burden. She even thinks Sarada hates her for always succeeding where he fails. Sarada blurts out that, yeah, he was jealous, but also that she inspired him and made his life exciting. When the train rolls in, he yells that he loves her. The train leaves, and she's gone, but then she steps out behind him. Mashiro says she wants to stay but doesn't want to make things worse. Nanami steps in, scolds her for blaming herself, then hugs her tight. Mashiro finally breaks down crying. Sarada tells her that Sakurasu isn't a building, it's them. Mashiro smiles and they all run off to the ceremony, late as always. Mashiro, Sarada, Nanami, Ryunosuke, and Rita head to the graduation ceremony. Turns out Rita and Ryunosuke had secretly teamed up to make cute Sakura-shaped brooches for everyone. Apparently, the guy who hates human contact went full arts and crafts mode for his girlfriend. Love really does make people do weird stuff. Inside the hall, the graduating class walks in while the school hymn plays. Sarada, Nanami, and Mashiro sneak in a bit late, looking like the trio who forgot what time school starts. Ryunosuke and Rita stay outside because he doesn't do emotional events, basically. He's allergic to feelings. The lower-classmen give the usual boring thank you speech, but then, surprise, Misaki steps up as the third-year representative instead of the serious student council president. Everyone's like, oh no, she's gonna say something wild again, and of course, she does. The love letter she gave Jin last episode? Yeah, that was her speech. Misaki starts talking about her lonely middle school days and how Suiko was supposed to be a place where she could make friends. Then she brings up Sakurasu, instantly making the administration shift uncomfortably like someone just said, tax audit. She tells the story of how she got kicked out of the normal dorms in under a week and ended up in Sakurasu with only Chihiro-sensei there. She wanted the dorm to be full someday, and it actually happened. Then comes a nostalgic montage through her speech, the chaos of their hot pot nights, sneaking into the school pool, the cultural festival, and the winter drama. Finally, she thanks all the residents one by one, and then immediately blows it all up by announcing the school's plan to demolish Sakurasu. The headmaster starts fuming, telling her to stop, but Jin steps in and says the speech was approved. Security's about to drag Misaki off stage when Sarada jumps in, grabs the mic, and goes full anime protagonist mode. Nanami and Mashiro back him up. Soon the entire crowd starts cheering for Sakurasu. Turns out rebellion's contagious. Sarada, overwhelmed by everyone's support, actually starts crying, which is both sweet and a little funny since 2 episodes ago he was yelling at Mashiro for being perfect. Misaki smiles and tells Sarada to keep building Sakurasu's spirit with new residents. Then the principal tries to restore order, but Ryunosuke walks in like a final boss and tells them the audience is clearly on Sakurasu's side. Even Suichirao and Chihiro back them up, arguing that the dorm is a creative hub, not a problem. Misaki then suggests everyone who supports them fill the air with cherry blossoms. So the students throw their pink brooches in the air, sparkly rebellion achieved. Cut to blue skies. The gang gets kicked out of the hall, but they've won. Sakurasu's demolition is cancelled. The final episode starts with a nostalgic callback to episode 1. Sarada's fixing the Sakurasu sign again, like old times. Nanami walks up and comments on his handiwork, and Sarada asks if she's packed for Osaka. He's confused by her tiny bag until she says she's not moving forever, just taking a quick trip to convince her dad she's not crazy. Flashback to the night before. Nanami tells Chihiro-sensei she still wants to be a voice actress. Chihiro gives her one of those I'm drunk but wise speeches about how being an adult means listening to others sometimes. Nanami agrees, and Chihiro leaves with a rare compliment, saying Nanami's time at Sakurasu wasn't wasted. Cut to the present. Misaki rolls up in a rental van, looking like a chaotic Uber driver to pick everyone up. The group says they're emotional and slightly awkward goodbyes. Chihiro's about to head inside when Kazuki pops up to ask her out. Man has zero timing but full confidence. On the way to Narita Airport, everyone's singing Kyu no Hai wa Sayonara like it's a weirdly wholesome karaoke road trip. They drop Rita off first. She shakes hands with Ryunosuke, then immediately yanks him in for a kiss. The crowd cheers, Ryunosuke passes out, and Maid-chan gets jealous enough to make Rita kiss the tablet. Next, Jin and Nanami leave. Misaki cries dramatically, so Jin kisses her in front of everyone. Instant blushes all around. He gives her a marriage form and tells her to hold it until he comes back. Misaki hugs him, sobbing and glowing at the same time. Nanami says goodbye too, hugging Mashiro and promising to return. After that, Misaki officially leaves the dorm in their hands, saying she's nearby anyway since she's studying at Sume University. Sarada asks Ryunosuke if he can make games alone, and Ryunosuke basically says, "You suck at coding, but free engines exist, so good luck." Mashiro and Sarada go see the cherry blossoms, the same tree where they met. Back home, Sarada finds Mashiro trying to hang her new painting, but ends up on the floor. The painting now includes her holding Hikari the cat, which, as Sarada notes, is impossible because that cat hates everyone. Mashiro then asks for a kiss because everyone else did it today. Sarada panics but agrees, until Hikari leaps in and claws his face mid-moment. Mashiro kisses his cheek instead, progress, but with scratches. A new girl, Kana, complains about noisy roommates and ends up assigned to Sakurasu. She's the top student and her roommate is Iori, a guy expelled from the normal dorm for peeking at girls' baths. Chihiro warns them life won't be normal here, understatement. Back at the dorm, Nanami's returned, Sarada's cooking tuna, and they chat about her dad finally giving in. Then the newbies arrive and instantly think they've walked into a horror movie when they hear fresh blood and see Sarada holding a bloody knife. Iori runs outside, sees Ryunosuke with a sickle, screams, and runs into Mashiro's room, where she tells him, "Take it off!" He panics, thinking it's sexy time, and strips, only for Mashiro to clarify she just wanted to paint his torso. Then Sarada realizes one new resident is actually his sister Yuko, who secretly passed her exams. Everyone gathers as Mashiro reveals her new group painting, featuring all of them, except Yuko. She didn't know she moved in yet. The doorbell rings. It's Misaki, now Mrs. Mitaka. She proudly announces she already filed the marriage papers and storms the kitchen like she owns it. The episode ends with Sarada reflecting that Sakurasu hasn't changed. New faces, new chaos, same warm mess. Flashbacks roll through every resident's memories, ending with Mashiro's painting. The whole gang together, Yuko hastily squeezed in last minute.